the only Scott is here, and I'm with Oli Lyons, the Dr. Rockstar.
Sup, guys?
Bro, so cool. Like, honestly, I was thinking about that before. I'm like, man, you're a doctor and a rock star.
I wouldn't recommend it.
It's stressful, but it's cool. You definitely live life in the fast lane.
Yeah, I guess so.
Are you working at A&E?
I am a lot at the moment, yeah. Like, I think the way I describe it is kind of by the skin of my teeth.
Bro, I want to know about it. How much can you talk about it?
I can talk about it quite a lot, as long as, like, I just have to respect patient confidentiality and stuff.
How long have you done the A&E stuff for?
Well, so the way that it works is when you go through med school and like it's separated into 6 years. The first 3 years are at uni where you're learning shit. And then year 4 to year 6 is like an apprenticeship basically where you're like learning on the job. And so you have different placements everywhere and you probably spend maybe like 6 weeks in A&E or something as a medical student. And then you get a placement when you're going through. So you work quarterly. And so every 13 weeks you change placements. And I did like one ED placement last year. And then I basically decided that at the end of last year, like things were like starting to sort of go well with the band. Like we were touring with Blind Spot and like playing quite regularly. It was the first big tour we'd done since after COVID because we had plans on going on tour before COVID, as everyone did. But it was like we were doing we were doing shows regularly and like you got in a groove, you're spending time with people all the time and it was like, fuck, this is pretty cool. And we started seeing like as the opening band, there were people in the front row, like at every show, like in places that like we didn't live that were wearing Written by Wolves t-shirts, singing along and stuff. Cool. It was like, what the fuck? Like we'd talk with them afterwards and some of them would be like friends, like we've got the Wolf Pack where basically sort of all the Wolves fans come together on Facebook. And so I guess people start connecting with each other. And we were talking with some of the fans at the end of the show and one of them started FaceTiming this dude in LA. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, how do you know who we are? Anyway, so I had this sort of realization, like basically for the first 2 years that you work, once you graduate as a doctor, you're kind of like provisional. So you're a doctor in New Zealand, but you need to prove yourself before you can be recognized as a doctor internationally, essentially.
Right.
So that happened at the end of last year. And then I was like, okay, well, now I've like sort of got my certificate. I'm like recognized. I can work wherever. And I was like, right, let's try and like do this seriously with the band. Basically sort of we had finished like writing and recording about sort of 10 or so songs at the end of last year.
I just want to touch on the fact that you guys release material like every year.
Yeah,
like I was looking at the discography like more specifically today, and I was just like, you guys have releases every year. Like the album was obviously the new EP that's come out we can talk about, but the 2019 album, and then the little EPs and singles in between. I'm just like,
you have to these days, bro. Like
man, that's a lot. I mean, great, like lots of songs, but I'm like, fuck, it's a lot of songs.
It's more about the way that you package it up. So the difference these days is like and everyone's probably different, but I think for a lot of bands, you will essentially sort of record an album because you'll be in this real writing mindset and you're constantly like on a creative sort of zone. And once you start writing a few songs, it's easier to write more songs. And so a lot of bands will essentially record a whole album's worth of content. And, 5-10 years ago, that would be an album and you would release it all as an album. But these days, if you do that, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot.
It's one bit of content you're putting out. Whereas you could make it like how many bits over a year? You have an EP of 5 songs. It's like it's a song maybe every few months, and then the EP at the end. You can do it. There's a lot of ways obviously to approach it, but I know what you mean. It's about maximizing the quantity of content to be able to share with people to keep people interested. And also, if you don't do anything for like a week, it's like, oh, are they a band anymore?
Yeah, and I think as well, like it's just the way that like unfortunately, as much as sucky as it is, Spotify is the leading music distributor in the world, and it's not going to change. And well, it's not going to change anytime soon. Like it was kind of looking interesting over the NFT period, but I think probably
that's been and gone now.
Yeah. Anyway,
did you jump on that?
No, we had ideas, but it was like, and I was pretty quick off the mark to learn about it, and we had talked about it quite a lot, but it was trying to find the right way of packaging it because we didn't want to be taking advantage of our fans or like sort of like exploiting them or like giving them something of no value. Like, so if like we were basically trying to figure out like if we create something, it needs to be worth it and an investment. And we were trying to figure out the best way to essentially do that, because that's what the ultimate purpose of NFTs and that stuff is that you're basically you're saying that I have an idea and you're like, who believes in me, who will allow me to make this idea become a thing. But you need to be able to make sure that whatever idea that you start selling, you can deliver on. And with all of us, like, you know, I'm working in medicine, and Davey and Mikey, everyone in the band's got full-time jobs, and a lot of the guys have got kids as well. So it was like, okay, like we'd love to do, you know, live streams or extra sort of like special things, but it's like, okay, we got to find time to make sure that we can honor that. And we're still thinking about it. We may do something, because we do want to find a way of being able to reward our fans and make it, but do it in a way of acknowledging the fact, hey, you're special. Like, we recognize all the time and effort that you've put in for us. We you deserve that recognition. So finding a way that works, that benefits everybody. And so we haven't quite got there yet. And also as well, like, you have different phases of thinking. Yeah. So as I was saying before, like you'll be in a writing phase and then you release it later, and then you'll be on a touring phase and we're in a touring phase or performing phase in the moment where we're all in focused on this tour. So anything outside of that it's never forgotten, because you can't just like focus on one, but you're always focusing your spotlight a bit more on one thing. So we might do something like it later on. But yeah, like the Spotify thing as well, if you think about it, like the way that the algorithm works with Spotify is you have release cycles. So things like if you want to get have a song pushed for playlist editorial playlists and stuff. So
you gotta pay for that now, eh? Have you heard about that?
No. So
not editorial ones, but it's something about being pushed on like the front page or something.
Oh
like that.
yeah. There's the discovery mode.
I've heard a lot about that. Yeah, that's like fucking hell, Spotify. Don't you make enough money?
I know. Yeah, 100%. And like and it's really hard. Like it's like a lesser of two evils in a way, in that like we're a New Zealand band. New Zealand is a small country. It's isolated. And there's one, maybe two mainstream rock radio stations in New Zealand. And so, like, before streaming, if you, like, as a rock band to get recognition, you had to get on the radio or MTV or something. We've seldom been played on mainstream radio here, but because of streaming, people have found out about it. And we're so lucky, like, you know, so while streaming is crappy, without streaming, we would have been able to ever achieve what we have achieved and have been able to aspire to. And so it's interesting. And like the thing that's quite cool as well is like, it's real nerdy, but like it's what you have to do in this day and age. When you dig into the analytics, you all of a sudden see like, oh, holy shit, like there's X amount of people in this city that have been playing our music. And then it makes you think, wow, like we live in a place where like a very, very small portion of our listenership is based, and we feel so special, and like we have such amazing fans here. It's like, oh my God, like if this is what it's like here, like what will it be like anywhere else? Like, and it's just such a, like the fact that we're actually able to do that, and in like a few weeks is like, it's crazy, eh? Like it doesn't feel real. Like it's the shit you like literally dream about.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, you grow up and like you watch, like you go to a concert or like you watch a live DVD or something, and you're like, holy shit, that guy's cool. Imagine if you could do that. And it's one of those imagine if you could do that type things.
100%.
And we're fucking doing that. Like it's like such a weird, like we're so excited. We're also nervous because it's like, you know, your one shot, like it is your ultimate opportunity. And so you want to put your best foot forward.
100%. Yeah, it's like, I imagine all that like anxiety now, like you feel pressure.
Yeah.
So like if I don't perform or if I don't execute, like we don't execute our best performances, like, what happens if I break my finger? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, little things like that.
Exactly.
I would imagine would be playing on your mind. So what are the places you're playing?
So we're playing Milan, Hamburg, Utrecht, Cologne. We're playing in Denmark, in Copenhagen, Berlin, Warsaw, Krakow, Manchester, and London. I may have missed a couple. I hope I haven't. I think we might be playing somewhere in Austria as well.
Vienna or something?
Yeah, Vienna. Honestly, like, it's
beautiful.
what the heck? Like, it's just crazy. Like, it'll be so. It's like,
you're living the dream, bro.
It's insane. And like, the other thing, it's like, one, we're like playing shows, but then we're traveling the world with like our best mates. I mean, we may not be best mates at the end of it, but at this stage,
at the moment, you guys are all good.
Exactly, but. I'm sure hours and hours and hours of driving at like 2 a.m. in the morning in a van it'll be a pressure test. Like, we were looking at the run sheet at the moment, and there are just so many things you kind of don't think about. So like, we're doing a show in Milan on the 2nd of November, and then I think we're playing. I think I could be getting it wrong, but we're playing in like Hamburg or something the next day, and that's an 8-hour drive. And so you realize, you're like, okay, so we're going to finish the show at probably like 10. We're going to then talk with fans for probably half an hour. Then we got to pack up. And then, okay, we got to be at sound check in Hamburg, 8-hour drive away at like 3 p.m. When are we going to drive? When are we going to sleep? And it's like, okay, well, and then when you have 4 band members, and then like crew, like sound guy, lighting guy, tech, anybody else, every night that you spend staying somewhere is accommodation for all those people. And so it's like, oh, okay, so it's probably more cost effective if we literally drive straight away from Milan at like the middle of the night and drive to the next city in the middle of the night, because then we'll save money on petrol and we'll get there and might be able to rest for a little bit beforehand. But it's all this stuff you're like,
it's a lot of logistics.
It's not as glamorous as you necessarily think.
It's all the logistics. So you have to also the bus driver as well.
Yeah, we got to drive. Yeah, that's like a priority.
100%. No, it sounds like you've got it pretty down, but yeah, that's like the little hidden logistics. It's not all like, rock and roll and parties. It's like, man, we got to get on the bus and we got to like try and sleep and time zones. And then you got like, hopefully, there's not anything crazy along the way, like crazy traffic jams. And it's just like, so you got to be like a full on logistics planner about everything. And you guys do you guys have a manager?
No, we don't. So that's the thing, is like, we are completely like self-managed. We have funded.
It's awesome, but it makes things a little bit tougher. Yeah,
we've been really lucky. Like, we got a bit of support from New Zealand Music Commission, Outward Sound. They help fund tours, which is good, but it's only a fraction of what you can do. But so it's one of those things where it's like a real blessing and a curse in that, like, we get to do what we want to do. A lot of the time, we had management in the past, or a lot of the guys have had experience with managers in previous bands. And when you have a manager that is on the same level as you, it's like amazing, the best thing ever. But when it comes to a band, especially something of this level, it's like literally all we think about. Like, we literally live and breathe this band. Like, our poor like wives and girlfriends, like, it is like there is not a day that goes by
you're not thinking about the band,
where we're not thinking about the band. Like, most of the time, like, our chat is like a daily chat. It's like a full-time commitment. And so trying to find somebody else who shares that level of commitment is the hardest part. So if you have a manager that does have that, like, amazing. Unreal.
Yeah.
But
very hard to find someone who has like the ideals and also character, because that's the other thing. It's like, if you get somebody, I would imagine, who is like, how would I say, personality clash. Yeah. It's like, well, maybe this guy's really good at organizing, but he's a cunt.
But the other thing as well is like, some of the best managers are cunts, because they're the ones that get shit done. Yeah. So it's like it's a crazy sort of thing. So Like
That's
we
good
had
that you guys met. It's impressive. The band's been together now 8 years. Is it 2015, 2014?
Yeah, 2015, I think.
Yeah, I think I remember because I met Mikey when he was at Sky City.
Oh, no way.
Because I used to do the sound there.
Yeah.
And I met him on like a few shows and I got to know him, and then I did a couple of vocal lessons with him actually. Sorry, Mike.
He's never given me any vocal lessons.
I mean, I paid him, but
True.
there's also that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I feel sorry he had to listen to my voice, but anyway. And then I remember you joined. I remember actually, this is a weird memory I thought about the other day, was I remember you were going to uni in Grafton, and I lived around there, and I just saw you randomly. Do you remember this? I remember I saw you.
Yes, I do remember that. Yes,
I
was just
we caught up for like 5 minutes, and then I remember you being like, "Oh, I just joined this band," and I'm like, "Oh, what band?" I've written by Walls. I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Do you know what a funny story is? Speaking on the topic of A&E, that was when I went to my first ever A&E shift ever as a medical student too, and I bumped into you. Fuck, that was a weird day. I remember, like, this is an example of me like living by the skin of my fucking teeth. Like I wouldn't trade it, but earlier that day there was this competition at the uni. It was like a DJ competition, and the winner of the competition got to open for Marshmallow at this like thing at the Domain. And I was like still doing med, and like I had a very important shift on, but I was like, oh well, the competition starts at 12 and my shift starts at 2. I could do that. So I like fucking played this DJ thing in the park with my drum pad and stuff.
Yeah.
And then got changed into like clinical clothes, and then went to the hospital like straight after and saw you. And I was real flustered, but like hopefully I didn't show. But yeah,
I couldn't tell. You always played cool. Was it I Hate Mondays? Was that?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
that's right. You were doing that for a little while.
Yeah, that was really cool. I really enjoyed it.
For people who don't know, Oli and I went to high school together.
Yeah, we did. You were one of the first people I ever met, like at St. Kitts. Like
that's right. Yeah,
we were in music class together. And you were the only other one that like was into like rock and like metal, and I remember we talked about like Limp Bizkit and stuff.
Yeah. I was obsessed.
Yeah, bro.
It's funny that's come back now, like in fashion. Whereas, like, at the time, it was like you're listening to them. They were like not even cool 10 years ago.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, they're fun though.
It's a weird time, mate. Like, bro, like speaking of that, when I was getting ready, real random, but Decode by Paramore came on. It was the first time I heard it for ages. It's like that song is one of the most underrated Paramore songs ever, I reckon. I remember I learned Decode for like an audition for house music, because my mate Sean was like in charge of the whole thing. Sean Dalton, the guitar of Eyes and Nights.
Yeah, this is something else I remember very well, is because I was in a band with a bunch of guys out of school. We were a fucking shit pop punk band, but we thought we were cool.
Yeah, of course you did.
I remember at Rock Quest, I'm happy we did it, but at the time afterwards I thought it was cringe, but we all dressed up in like white waistcoats and shit. And like we're all weird. So like we're all like weird people. So we go on, wear our waistcoats and stuff, like middle of the day of like Rock Quest, and then I think we're what are we called? Unwritten, and someone's like, yeah. And then we just start playing.
You should have done
really
Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield.
I know.
That would have been fucking out the gate.
And we played it, we're on the stage, we're like, and we're like, we're not getting anywhere with this, eh?
It's true though. Like it's so funny. Like I've talked about this before with Rock Quest. Like it is so serious. Like I almost like got broken up with like a high school girlfriend and stuff over Rock Quest. Like
did you guys do it for 2 years or just the 1 year?
2 years, but the last year, like because we got signed, which was a disaster.
That's right.
We got signed and we're like, we don't need Rock Quest, and like we kind of took the piss, and then we didn't get in. Like in the year that we were basically like actually doing quite well, we didn't even make it through the heats because we were like being.
You guys got like
shits.
the People's Choice Awards in that first year.
Oh, bro!
You know, I remember that because I was just like, because I thought to myself like, well, you guys are like, like reasonably popular.
We were not People's Choice. Let's be honest. Nobody was there for us. It was just that we were hustling on the text. Straight up, bro.
Yeah, because I tried to hustle, and I'm like, I don't think I know enough people. And I was like, I'll message like a few. I'm like, oh well, I think I just got lazy.
My cousin was at a party, and she got everyone at the party to text through. And
genius.
Like,
genius.
I'm sure we would have had a few fans, but like, let's be honest, we were like fucking abrasive. Like, metal. Like we weren't the most popular band of the day at Rockwest, but you know, it works. And like
people were like banging their head and like,
yeah, people, to be fair,
better than me, bro. People, we played a show and everyone was there just like, man, like, is the guitar out of key? Is the vocals out of key? I'm like, probably.
It was a funny one because it was weird because I remember in high school, and like this is kind of semi pre-streaming, but like all our mates, none of our mates liked that music at all.
No.
And like everyone was like, people used to go up to us and be like, well, first they used to go up to me and call me Dane Rumble. And then
I was about to bring that up. Do people still call you Dane Rumble?
No, because once, you know, everyone started cottoning on to the haircut. But yeah, I remember my cousin.
He stole it from you.
I think my cousin potentially could have actually cut his hair. Like that was the thing, is like my cousin who lived in Auckland like did the hair for like Midnight Youth and like all of this stuff. And like we're like, oh yeah, we should go to Auckland. Like she's got all the hookups and stuff. And like, and then she's like, oh, you got to do this. Like you'll look cool. And I was like, okay. Because I had long hairs here before that, and every school I went to, I grew up in Dunedin, and then basically my dad got offered a job in Auckland, and that it was the end of year 11 at school, and they were like, okay, you can either stay in Dunedin if you like, you know, it would be unfair of us to uproot you so far through your childhood, and you can board at school, or you can move up to Auckland. And I was like, I took fucking everything for granted when I was a kid. We had the best house. It wasn't like bougie or anything, but it was just a really good location. So like, Dunedin, like you can basically walk everywhere. And we were like probably 5-minute walk from school, and it had like a swimming pool. Not that like there's much use for a swimming pool in Dunedin, but
it's so cold.
Everyone used to just come to our house all the time, and I like really took it for granted. Like I never really put an effort with people, like, cause I just had like, people were just there, and I never had to work.
It's also just smaller as well, isn't it? People are a bit closer.
And back then I was like, I think I do want to do music, and ironically thought Auckland was the place to be, but Dunedin kind of had a bit of a resurgence after that. But I was like, nah, like as much as I don't want to, like this will like build me as a character sort of thing. And got a few music scholarships to a bunch of different schools.
That's quite mature. To think that at like 16 to be like, oh, this is gonna build me. I'm gonna be that. I would have never have thought that.
Oh, it was hard. Like it was like the first year was real tough, because like it's like when you go to a school, like when you have new kids often like portray this, which is really fucked. Like high school is just shit. It's such a like,
I hated it.
Yeah, it's such a like toxic, unpleasant place. Everyone's so insecure, but nobody lets anyone else know about it.
Yeah,
you know, like that's the funniest thing, is like nobody is comfortable in their own skin, and ultimately the coolest people, would like realistically are the ones that are comfortable in their skin. But it's all these people trying to pretend.
I always thought you were real comfortable in your skin.
Oh, bro! Like,
I was
straight up.
I was like, man, this guy is just cool. Like everything you do, I was just like, this guy's just so like he's just done. Just like you win a band Eyes and Nines. I'm like, if I did this, everyone would be like, oh, but when you do it, I'm like, oh, it's cool. You know, just stuff like I want to make, I'm gonna flatter you a little bit, but I'm just this guy's like, because I remember it was really cool. We went to the Foo Fighters gig.
Bro, that was fucking sick.
Bro, that was probably one of the loudest gigs I think I've ever been to. That
was
in my
amazing. That was probably one of the best gigs I've ever been to.
So intense. It was Foo Fighters.
Bro, intense. So I lined up at 4 a.m. outside the Altea Centre box office with my dad to get tickets for that. So the Foo Fighters announced that they were doing a like real last minute show
because of the Christchurch earthquake. It just happened, and then they did the Auckland show. And I remember I got a ticket because my sister worked at Auckland Live, and I don't know how I got a ticket, but I was like, this is probably going to be one of the best shows ever, so I got to go. And then I heard you were there, and I remember I was like, I think you missed school.
I missed school.
And then I was like, I have to leave. I think I left last period or something. I'm like, fuck it. I'll go see you there or something.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I lined up at I think 9 a.m. So yeah, I was waiting outside the box office from 4 a.m. with my dad, fucking doing maths homework and shit, because the website that they used was so crappy back then, and I didn't want to risk it, and it worked, but my poor dad was just like sitting out in the freezing cold.
Cool dad.
Yeah, and then I lined up from like 9 a.m. I think for that show, and the coolest part was because the town hall was so small, and the other people that were lining up there were like insanely dedicated Foo Fighter fans as well. It was really cool. I think it was Ashley and Leanne, I think. And anyway, we heard that when they were arriving, because the only place you can arrive at the town hall.
It was at the back. Yeah, it was at the back. I remember we were there, and then we got to meet Dave Grohl.
Yeah, bro.
I remember that. Yeah, that was crazy. And I had nothing. I had nothing for them to sign.
Oh, I did. This is the worst part. So I ran to JB Hi-Fi, bought a CD, and was like talking to him, like making an editing of myself, and was like, "Can you sign my CD?" And he's like, "Yeah, do you have a pen?" And I didn't have a pen.
Oh, that's right, because I actually remember this now. You were like, "Does anyone have a pen? Does anyone have a pen?" And I was like, "I haven't got shit." But I remember I shook Dave Grohl's hand, and I was just like,
same.
I don't know. He's like, "How are you going?" I'm like, I'm fine. I'm like, these are the hands that drummed on Nevermind. I'm like, probably one of the biggest selling albums of all time. I remember the time being like, that happened. Okay.
I literally I still do idolize Dave Grohl. It was like
He's awesome.
The best.
Fuck, that gig was loud. I remember afterwards, I don't know if I was with you, and I went to a dairy, get a drink.
Yeah.
And I just I felt sick because my ears was it was beyond ringing at this point. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, it's the loudest show I've ever been to.
It was pretty fucking loud.
So fucking loud. I think it was also because the different guitar tones they had. Like there's Pat Smear, Chris, and there was there's
Pat Smear, Chris, and Dave. I think that's it.
Dave, yeah, that's right. And I think it's Chris's guitar tone, and Pat. Chris's guitar is so fucking trebly. It was like
yeah.
I remember it. I remember standing there being like, fuck, that's so fucking trebly.
Yeah.
What a gig,
bro. That was insane.
Dave Grohl running around hooking up with strangers. Do you remember that?
Did he?
Yeah, he was he ran around the top. I still remember this so well. He was like making out with
oh my god.
He was kissing girlfriends. And I was just like, man, this guy's so fucking cool.
He's the coolest. He's the ultimate and it's so cool because it's he achieves a lot and he's the nicest guy ever. Well, he seems nice.
He seems no one's got anything real bad. I mean, apart from what's her name, Courtney Love or some shit.
Even then, though, they're reasonably cordial. I think I don't know if that's the right word, but what was I going to say? That's the thing. Dave Grohl is definitely one of my big inspirations in terms of stage presence and stuff as well.
And drums. I remember at the time when we met, you were all about the Foo Fighters playing on the drums.
Dave Grohl, in my opinion, is the best drummer in the world. There are more technical drummers than him, but he's so recognizable. And you can argue John Bonham and stuff as well. But there's, for me, Dave Grohl is the GOAT. The intro to Songs for the Dead by Queens of the Stone Age. That is the coolest fucking intro to a song ever.
It's also his drum beats are guitar riffs. I heard someone explain this, and I'm like, that's very true. Especially In Bloom off the, it's the it's like a guitar riff, but just on the drums, and it's so memorable.
Yeah,
it's
bro.
Who makes memorable drum hooks?
Exactly.
There's not too many drummers who can play. It's fucking hard. I mean, making a guitar riff memorable is already hard. A drum pattern.
Yeah, bro, it's so true.
That's hard.
Yeah, man. That reminds me, I don't know why, but on the topic of RockQuest, my first ever band in Dunedin, we got real serious. It's quite funny, on the topic of RockQuest, we were pretty industrious, I guess, for a 15-year-old band. We got t-shirts made.
Fuck, that's impressive.
And later, we kind of got, I wouldn't say we got swindled, but we thought it was real, custom made, really legit. And then we realized that the font was just a font from Photoshop. It was the same font as Angry Birds. But we didn't know that until Angry Birds came out. They fucking stole our font.
Ah, damn.
But we had
copyright.
we played at RockQuest. We were all wearing our own band t-shirts because you get the points for looking. You had the coats. We had our own band t-shirts. But we had all these. We had half the crowd were wearing Triggered t-shirts, which is the name of our band, which is quite cool.
That's right. I remember that now. You remember telling me that.
And we were terrible, bro. It's so funny. We were so motivated, but we came from such different influences.
Yeah.
And we didn't quite understand how to respect the song. Well, I didn't. I think the others did, but I was I need to play double bass. And so I was listening to Lamb of God and stuff, and I was really
double
intense.
kicks were hard out. I remember that.
Bro, straight up. So there was this one song that we did with this band. So he, our singer and guitarist Nick, who wrote all the stuff, he loved Pearl Jam, and it sounded like Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
But then
Joe
I made a drum beat that was kind of inspired by Now You Got Something to Die For by Lamb of God. Imagine that over power chords, ding, ding, ding. It was horrific. But we thought we were so good. Yeah, no, I do. That was fun. And that was Ricky, honestly, who I've always been really motivated to like, I think it's one of those things when I started playing drums early on, and it was kind of perfect because, you know, when you're growing up, you're going through school and all that stuff, especially when you're young, you don't really know where you fit. You don't know what is like your identity. And like, I was like a chubby kid and stuff. Like, I liked sports, but I was never that athletic. But the thing is that I had to work twice as hard to keep up with everyone else in sport because I was like chubby and stuff like that. But it gave you real work ethic. Anyway, because I started doing drums early, it was like, oh, this is my thing that I'm good at. This is the thing that like people seem to be responding to. And then I got more into it, and I was always, everywhere I went, I guess because I started early, I was always the best drummer. And it started, it wasn't like a thing of pride, but it was like,
it was confidence, it was like, and self-esteem.
Yeah, like, and I was like, okay, if I can achieve this now, like all that I need to do to continue to have that is to keep working hard and work harder than everyone else. And it was really cool, like, and it was fun, and like,
that is literally your secret, I think. I'm not kidding, man. Like, I remember distinctly, like, even going back to high school, once again, just gassing you up, but because I've known you for a while, I've watched you, like, since high school, like, the Eyes and Nine stuff, to then doing I Hate Mondays, to then going and Written by Wolves, now you're going on this massive tour, like, bro, it's fucking, like, it's insane. It's to me, but I'm like, that's so cool. But it's also a long time. I mean, it's like over 10 years or longer, actually.
Yeah.
But it's like the growth and the work ethic. And I think that's always something I've really admired about what you do. And everything you do, it seems to hit most of the time.
I've been fucking lucky.
It seems to hit. And I've always been, I'll be honest, I've been a little bit envious sometimes.
Fair enough.
But I look at it and I'm like, it just fucking hits. And I'm like, but now that I hear you talk about what you just explained about when you're younger, I'm like, this makes complete sense.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's like going from like, you know, that kid and you say like, chubby, struggling with sport, get that work ethic. I'm like, that's where it's from.
I've been fucking lucky.
I think so.
Well.
That's what it sounds like to me.
That's
where you've had it from, and that's where you are. And I'm like, wow, that's why you can be a rock star doctor, bro. Doctor. Rock star doctor, man. I don't think there's many. Oh, is it? No, I don't think there's many doctors who are rock stars, bro.
No, there aren't many that I know of. There is the guy from Glass Animals, the singer of Glass Animals, was a medical student, but I think he dropped out halfway through med school, as you would, being in Glass Animals.
Bro, I couldn't even finish a bachelor's at university, so I can't imagine doing med school.
Bro, I think some of it's also like I've got this fucking probably, I wouldn't say it's crippling, but I've got a fear of failure, and I don't, but it's more because, and I think it's an ADHD thing as well, which is interesting. You set these goals. I always set these goals in my mind, and like it's like a blessing and a curse. Like a lot of the goals that you set are often unrealistic, and so daily you'll have these moments where you're like, oh, I like thought in my mind that I was going to do this and going to do that, and it can be very easy to let it sort of overwhelm you. But no one knows about these goals, and the other thing as well is a lot of it. Sometimes the goals do stick, and it's kind of like. The thing that I think it's really funny, like going through medical school is a funny thing in that like I sometimes describe it as like the SAS of learning, which sounds fucking weird, and I know it probably sounds really arrogant, and I'm not meaning it like that, but it's like the amount of stuff that you have to learn, like you basically have to learn like a whole language of like medical terminology, and then like physiology and stuff like that. But what you realize is, wow. Like if I applied the same amount of effort that I just put towards learning all this stuff, I could do anything. And it's like you realize like the amount of work that was required for me to get through medical school, the amount of work that was required to get through this, if I applied that same work ethic to anything else, you'd be fucking flying. So I was really lucky in that regard, I guess. And it's funny as well, like it's a weird thing, and I don't know why I think about this, but like yeah, like I guess maybe from being like a bit like chubby on the chubbier side when I was younger and like having to work harder to keep up, it ended up being a real blessing because it teaches you really good work ethic. You know, it's funny, like to any of like the younger kids out there and stuff who might be sort of feeling like they don't fit in or like they're not cool, like they're not sort of, they might be a bit fat or, you know, they might not look nice or something like things will be way better than you expect, and like everything can turn into a real blessing if you make it.
I was thinking about this as well, because obviously you coming on and like thinking about high school again, and like, oh fucking no, that was not a good time for me. But I look back and I'm like, it's interesting, like thinking about like where, especially like where you come from, where you are now. I try not to think about it too much, but I end up doing it all the time. I'm sure you probably do as well. And what I kind of notice is I'm like, oh yeah, like, the kid I was to the I guess, man I am now. I'm like, oh wow, like I've really come a long way. And I think the biggest thing I really struggled with, especially back then, I was sensitive as fuck. So I was an easy target.
Yeah, as we all were in a way.
You weren't easy target.
Well, bro, like we all were more sensitive than we let on.
I was just so sensitive. I let it get to me way too much. And then I also I didn't back myself ever. That was also from intermediate school of just getting like beaten up and shit. But I was like I think about all that stuff and I'm like, I'm happy that happened in a weird way, because now when I deal with adversity or confrontation, I don't get as freaked out. It doesn't make me scared. Obviously, sometimes it comes up with me.
It's still, I
might get freaked out, but
and it's still fucked and unfair and not right or just that you had to go through that. Though.
It is what it is. Like, but I look at it and I'm like, well, there's a lot of ways I can be like, woe is me, or it can be like, well, I got to go through it, and then people will who let's say peak in high school or peak when you're 17, which now thinking about it is fucking sad. Because when you get older, you're gonna struggle with trying to, how would I say, not just recreate it, but now you've got to deal with life's challenges where people aren't going to be nice to you.
Yeah,
you might have been cool in this little pond, but now you're in the bigger pond, and now you're not.
100%.
And that was always something I thought about a few years later, because I wasn't fucking cool in school at all. But like that was something I used to. At the end of high school, I was like, I need to stop thinking about like. I guess, once again, everyone's always a bit self-conscious. I mean, naturally, 100%. I think people always are. I'm still a little bit, but back then was like overkill. It was like, oh man, I'm such a loser for every fucking reason I can think of.
You weren't,
and then I'm like, thanks, bro. I kind of was, but thank you. But I think of that. I'm like, I mean, it's like, I look back on it and I'm, in a sense, happy that I got to deal with the adversity early. Yeah. So when I get challenged later on in life, job problems, relationship problems, whatever it may be, or I meet people I don't get on with well, it's like, I kind of know what's going on. Obviously, sometimes people will be really mean or say shitty things, but it's like, this has kind of happened before. So it's not like I'm going to be like, I can't believe this is happening to me. Because I know some people think like that.
Yeah, I guess it's a big mindset thing, eh? It's like you can't necessarily control the hand that you've been dealt, but you can control how you use that hand. And it's like you have these things that you can draw upon, and you can use that as fuel and motivation. And the adversity teaches you things, as you say, which can benefit you if you grasp it and seize it the right way. And then on the flip side, you have those people who come from privilege and stuff where they have never had to work for stuff, but at the same time they have those extra opportunities from being it. But it's like, it's all about how you view stuff. But bro, like straight up, like it might have seemed like I was like fucking floating along and stuff. I ate lunch in the bathrooms for like a week because I didn't want to be seen as the nerdy guy, because I was, no, not the nerdy guy, that's the wrong word. I didn't want to be seen as the loner, because it's like, if the new kid at school always sits on their own and they're perceived as the loner. So I was even more of a loner and like hid myself away. These are the things that you don't see.
Yeah, I know.
And like I was, I'm aware of that. I'm like a swan. Like I might seem real cool and calm, but like I'm a fucking walking shit show. Like my poor wife.
I'm talking surface level stuff, probably mostly, because obviously I don't know you like super personally, so it's hard to obviously know all the what happens behind the scenes. No, you never really know.
Exactly.
But I'm just talking about surface level.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it, and you were like, you were fucking cool. You need to back yourself.
Thanks, bro. That was always the thing I respected about you, because like I said, I was a bit weird and all that. And Oli was always like, he was cool, man. He was a cool guy. Still cool now. But like, I look back and I'm like, because I think about that stuff and I'm like, the whole time it's like, you were never and like shitty to anybody's. I remember, like,
Hope not.
I don't remember that at all. Like, and I'm always thinking, like, man, he just had it sussed. How did he have it sussed? But now I know why.
Yeah, it's funny as well. Like,
not that you have it fully sussed, but you know what I mean. It's
100%.
It's like you went through that shit a bit early, got that work ethic, and I guess the confidence I remember about you as well is maybe people might have, like, let's say, mocked you about your music and stuff. Whereas for me, probably similar to you, music's real sensitive.
Yeah.
So if you show a band like, let's say, Parkway Drive, especially at the time, people are like, what the fuck is that? And it's like, it's the best band ever. Oh, why don't you like it? I love it. Which is how I was with the bands I liked. And you'd always just like, well, fucking whatever. Like, I love that shit. You can just fuck off.
Yeah,
and I was
exactly.
like, damn.
I mean, you had pretty decent taste in music anyway. And you know what's funny though, as I didn't realize until later on how much of a hold I had on my people around me when I was in Dunedin. I was such a music like psycho, not realizing, like, basically, like, a good example of this is I started catching up with one of my mates, Oscar, who actually plays bass in Marlin's Dreaming. But he played guitar in our first band, and I caught up with him like 6 months after I left, and I was like, oh bro, have you heard the new Lamb of God album? And he was like, no one really listens to metal like since you left school. But like when I was there,
everyone listened to metal.
So put it this way: we went on a school field trip to Metallica. It was.
How did you do that?
Honestly, I don't know, but like it was insane. Like so, like I went through this period. And like my identity was music, and I had to know more about any, especially metal bands. I just know more about any metal band than anyone else, and it was so insane. Like I got like this encyclopedia of metal, and I read it so much that I could tell when other people I knew were just quoting bits of information from the book, and it's like, oh, you don't really know, you just read the book. Like that's how insane it got. And like,
I love it.
Like one of the this is a good example. Like one of the sort of last probably releases that got big on CD that I can think of was Death Magnetic by Metallica, and I was obsessed. Yes. And me and my mate were actually down at the street in Dunedin collecting for like Daffodil Day or something. Like it was like a thing that you could do to get out of class, like collect money for charity. And we didn't use the money from the bucket. I'd need to say that we did not take any donated money. But one of us ran down to the CD shop and got the Metallica album, and we came back and we had music class the last period. And we used to play this game like, it was something like Musical Chairs or something with music. And we made everyone listen to the Metallica album because it had just come out. And then like next thing we knew, like he'd bought tickets for all of us in the band. And I fucking won the meet and greet to meet them as well.
I saw photos. I remember, I think you might have showed me photos or told me about it. It's on your Facebook at the time. You like meeting Kirk Hammer and like James Hetfield. I'm like, this guy, man.
And it was so funny. That was my real like, and there was a real like one up. Or like it was a great way of connecting with people that like metal and music in a new place, because people were like, wow, oh my God, you met them, I respect you, which is so stupid. But like it was and it was just amazing to meet them. Like I like idolized those guys, and it was so funny. Speaking of my band's, my old high school band's t-shirt, I gave James Hetfield one of my band t-shirts with the Angry Birds font. And
promote it.
And I was like, oh, maybe he'll wear it on stage. Maybe, of course he did it. But like,
hell yeah.
They videoed it as well.
What a hustle, man.
Yeah, which is really cool. Like that they videoed it. But there's this clip you can find of me somewhere in like the depths of YouTube of me meeting Rob. And I just like am a bumbling mess. He's like, oh, hey man, how's it going? And he's like, good. I'm good, thank you. But funnily enough, like, you know, people were real quick to talk shit about Lars, but like Lars was so nice. Like I was obviously, I think I was like 14, like 15. I was quite young. Definitely the youngest there for the meet and greet. And like a lot of the guys, understandably, didn't have much to say, because it's harder to talk to people when you can't get much back. Like you ask them questions, but they're sort of not able to respond. But like Lars really took the time to actually say hello, and I guess he saw that I had a drum head, so he would have like seen I was a drummer. But he was fucking lovely, eh? But I had this real hold over like my schools, like my friends' music taste and stuff. Like music's it's a big part of your identity when you're a kid, eh?
It's huge. I remember for me, the band that really was Linkin Park. That was everything, because before that, when I was like primary school, there's a few little rock bands, but most of it was like First CD I ever bought, Scribe. The Crusader.
Yeah.
Still hands down one of the best New Zealand hip hop albums, in my opinion.
Yes, 100%. It's probably my it would definitely be
so good,
and probably my top 3 rap albums of all time because of the influence. Yeah, bro. Like straight up, like Dreaming is one of the best hip hop songs ever.
Like definitely that pop hip hop nailed it.
Oh my gosh, I loved Scribe.
So that was the first CD I ever got. I must have been like 8, 9,
nice. I got that one as well.
And but yeah, I think so the hip hop thing I kind of liked. Eminem obviously back then was huge, so that was everywhere. And then I think it was, you know what's also, sorry, this is hilarious. I just remember this was another CD I got at the time was Playlist 2. Do you remember that?
Those were sick.
Old Mike Murphy was on there.
Was he?
Yeah, bro. I realized that because it was like what was that band that had I was listening to them the other day because I hadn't heard them in so long. From Hamilton, 48 May.
Oh,
and
yes.
they had that song Liver and Tattoos on there and like all that.
Those are like the golden days, man. Like them, Goodnight Nurse. Like
Stop the Music, Peabody Scribe.
Yes. Banger. I learned, that was one of the first songs I learned to play drums to.
Bro, that's such a
That
cool
was the
song.
First like drum and bass song I learned.
Yeah. And then had Mike Murphy on there. But I can't remember the song of name. And I'm just like,
must have been Can't Take That Away.
It must be, yeah. I didn't recognize him when I did sound for him. I remember this. This is kind of like funny. But I remember like, because I hadn't, like my last memory of him was New Zealand's Got Talent, obviously.
Yeah,
and
New Zealand Idol.
Sorry, New Zealand Idol, that's right. And that's my last memory of him. And I don't know. I remember like all these years later at Sky City, and he's like, oh, Mike Murphy. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, the name sounds familiar. Go upstairs, and then he's like, yeah, man, Mike Murphy. Yeah, he's so buzzy, like from New Zealand Idol. I'm like, no way.
Yeah,
is that him? And I'm like, bro. And then he was just like, oh, fucking hell. Not another one.
I totally, I don't think we were like probably shared this, but like I was a big fucking Michael Murphy fan growing up.
There we go.
It's so funny, eh?
It was funny because I spoke to him and I was just like, no way. No way, man.
I'd never tell him that.
Because I remember watching it at the time, watching TV, when watching TV was a thing, right? So watching New Zealand Idol and Ben Lummis and Mike Murphy, who are you going to choose?
Yeah, bro.
I'm like, fucking so funny. And then, like seeing him there and then written by Wolves. How did you join the band? How did that happen?
Yeah, it's a funny story. And I guess it's sort of like, it's an example. I think we were talking about it off air before we started, like having these projects and things that you were into. So I guess it started like I kind of talked about this on one of the Wolves podcasts, but when I got into medical school, I kind of like I had this real existential. I have a fucking daily existential crisis, to be honest.
Amen.
But I had a real period where I was at a real crossroads, which sounds so lame when you're like 18. But basically, my plan getting out of high school was to get into pre-med, and I applied to pre-med, and I got in. But I was really, really anxious about it. I had crazy anxiety about pre-med because it's horrible. It's like the worst year ever. Like
so intense.
Yeah, bro.
So much pressure.
They have space.
I've heard about it from some other people. It sounds mental.
They have it's something like, I can't remember the numbers. I think it was like 280 places in the year I applied, and there's like 2,500 people that start in pre-med. So the odds of you getting in are so slim.
Oh my God.
And like it's real toxic as well because everyone's so competitive and like
everyone's against each other.
Yeah, and everyone's like also like burnt out, overworked, stressed. Like they have no you. It sounds weird, but like you lose a lot of your ability to function on a social level because you get so like focused on getting an A in your test. That was all that you thought about the whole year. Anyway, I kind of thought, especially in that period, because I had to work so hard. By deciding to do medicine, like music's over. And basically, I had so much anxiety about applying about that year ahead that I didn't apply to pre-med until basically the last minute, and there was no space left because they accepted more people than they had space for that year. And so they're like, if you want to get into med school, you can't. Like, you're going to have to apply next year. But your grades from high school weren't good enough to be in the next year because they had to raise the cutoff. So I had to then I was like, okay, right, what do I do? Like, I then need to study some other paper and get my GPA up. Or I can try and do music stuff. And I ended up working for a semester and then not. And ironically, the first thing I started doing was I was like fresh off like having drummed for Eyes and Nines, which were a metalcore band. Like we were quite good, but like metalcore wasn't very popular in New Zealand. It was hardcore at that time. Like hardcore was popular.
It was a bit of both. No, like I'd say it's a bit of both around that time. Like I remember metalcore being like
I guess
it depends.
I
mean, define big, right? But I would say lots of people were doing it, and like that whole Zeal scene as well. Like
we were on right at the tail end of that.
Yeah, you guys were.
That was real cool.
There was a lot of that going on, and like it was weird. A bunch of like big bands would play at Zeal. Like I think
it was.
Like
I saw Northlane there.
Yeah, Northlane played there, right? I went to Inishikari there. That was fucking psycho.
That would have been sick.
Craziest, one of the best gigs I've ever been to in my life, hands down.
Fuck yeah.
I was in high school. I think last year in high school I went, and it was on like a Thursday night.
Oh my god! I can't believe I missed that.
I'm going to it. At the time, I mean, I still love them, but at the time I was obsessed.
Bro, they used to do like the human pyramids and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
it was one of the craziest gigs I've ever fucking been to.
You went to Soundwave as well, eh?
I did. I went to Soundwave.
That was so sick.
2012.
Yeah, same.
There
was
the
Clashes.
That one?
Yeah, bro.
Why did I not
remember
see it?
Listening to when you were talking about Limp Bizkit, and I felt the exact same way. Like everyone started jumping, and it literally like lifted you off the ground. Like if you didn't jump, you'd probably get lifted by other people.
Yeah, Soundwave was insane. I'm like, it was like, obviously because Big Day Out by that point, I think it had like one more year before it stopped, which is fucking sad. But I remember going to Soundwave, I'm like, man, I think I saw like Trivium, Machine Head, Day to Remember, Limp Bizkit, Inishikari, Zebrahead.
There's so many Clashes.
There was
fucked.
Yumi at 6 were there. I still remember. Marilyn Manson was there.
Yeah.
System of a Down. Slipknot. What a fucking lineup! I still remember. Like
there was
yesterday.
like Slipknot with Joey as well, and Craig jumped like from some crazy height.
Yeah, that was fucking nuts.
There were so many Clashes. I remember I really wanted to see Your Demise and Let Live.
Yeah, that's right.
They were playing the same time as Slipknot.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
But anyway, back on the topic of getting into Wolves.
Yeah.
So I like had this period where I tried to basically become a session drummer, and I started like making YouTube videos. I'd try and find New Zealand artists that like were like doing cool stuff, and I didn't think would have a drummer. And I was trying to, because after playing in a metalcore band and stuff, it was so technical. Like it was just like you were counting the whole time. Like it was real offbeat. Like it was metalcore with a real gent spin. Like our guitarist Ricky, who now like Dozy Doe, the producer, like out the gate, but he was a guitar prodigy, man. That guy was fucking insane.
He was awesome, I remember.
And he used to write he basically wrote the whole songs. And it was real offbeat, like sort of like Vildjata and like Periphery inspired, like offbeat crazy stuff and like he'd write on Pro Tools and it was a real challenge. It was like, okay, well this is what he wants, I will learn it. So he pushed me big time. But anyway,
guitarist writing drums.
Yeah. After that, it's probably quite cool. I don't know. Yeah,
it can be hit and miss.
Yeah, 100%. Like he was reasonably realistic.
Reasonably.
I mean, I took it as a challenge.
Yeah.
There was some like blast beats where it was just like, bro, I'm playing at like 220 BPM for like a minute and a half. And like 16. Although I've probably never been as good at drums, which is a bit sad. But anyway. After that, I was like, I have had enough of this like complex stuff. I want to play something simple as fuck and just like have stage presence, energy. And I really wanted to like play in like an indie band, like sort of Arctic Monkeys or something like that. But couldn't find the right people because I was in the metal scene. But I started doing drum covers of like Lord and Randa and like all these people thinking, oh, they won't have drummer. Of course they did. So that sort of came on, and then I was like going through mid school, and like you just. Like I thought music was over for me. Like I thought once I got into music, that was it. But you can't escape it. Like you need it, and so
it's a part of you. That's the thing. I remember. Sorry, just to make this about myself. I've done the same thing. The times I've wanted to quit and stop, just doing music altogether because it's given me such a fucking headache.
Yeah, bro.
I just can't. I just can't.
Exactly.
I just can't. I'm doing a version of it all the time or something. I just can't do it. And I imagine that's probably what happened. Like you said with Med, you start it like this is it. Music's behind, but it's like something's missing. What have I not got? Oh, that's right. I played the drums every day for like fucking years.
Yeah, and so what happened was probably like I think it was the year I got in, and I always wanted. This was when I was still kind of semi-trying my like indie music drum sort of session musician goal.
Indie music was huge around that time.
Massive.
Sorry, to mention something else. I was listening to a top 2010s hit playlist, which, by the way, fuck man, there's so much crap.
It must have
then.
ripped.
It was
like Foster the People and stuff. Would it be?
It was all like that.
Or like JoJo and.
It was like a mixture of like LMFAO.
LMFAO.
What's crack up? And then like a lot of that indie stuff. Like what was it called? Like Of Monsters and Men.
Oh yeah, Of Monsters and Men. Yeah.
I'll be real. I can't stand that shit. I listen to it now.
It's real folky. Like,
right.
There was a real big folk like like push for a while.
It was like the hipster indie stuff, and I'm like,
yeah, bro, I was big into that.
Yeah. I was not, but I can see why you were doing that. Probably to like try and find people you like or people you can play with, and yeah, that's so different. But that's also really cool. Like again, the ambition to like stop the metalcore and be like, no, I'm gonna go online, post videos, find people that way, have the confidence to do that.
Yeah, and that was the thing. So like I got this drum pad because all those indie drummers had it. Like I remember the Mint Chicks are a good example. Like Paul from the Mint Chicks, who now plays with Leisure. He was one of the first drummers that I saw live who used the SPD drum pad when they opened for the Foo Fighters actually at the Town Hall.
That's right.
Oh, sorry.
No,
and so I got one of those Roland SPD SX drum pads and I started playing around. I was like, fuck, this is pretty cool. Like you could do all this like trap beats. That was when trap was starting to get quite big.
Yeah.
And the thing that was real cool that I realized is I could do the cicada type stuff, but I could do it with like actually play it, like the tss, which like is usually like fake. I could do it like a drum roll, like you're doing a snare drum for a marching band, but you do that on the hi-hat sample and it sounds the same. So I started doing that and I was like, fuck, this is cool. It'd be fun to do this in front of people because that's the thing. Once you start performing in front of people, it's over. You have to keep doing it. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be like a massive crowd, but just you want to show you. There's just nothing like performing in front of people.
100%.
It doesn't matter whether it's 10 people or 1,000. You know. Anyway, so I was like, okay, well, I can't just do something with the drum pad. So I started learning how to DJ. So what I'd do is I'd DJ and then do the drum pad. And it was funny. Like I used the drum pad as a way of hiding how shit I was at DJing. Like I always wanted to DJ when I was a kid. I just thought DJs were so cool. And I got really into, like I've always been a real music nerd and the DJ has the power to introduce people to new music. You have their attention and you, so I started DJing and doing that. And I had a video on YouTube. It was so funny. Like we were talking about social media earlier and how you never know what's going to pop off. I did a drum solo. I don't know if you were there or not, but I did a drum solo at St. Kitts, like at the end of year 13.
I do remember this. Yeah.
And I like asked my mates to like, they brought in like a little camcorder, like they weren't allowed to, and like they snuck it in, and like I asked them to video it because I was like, I'm really proud of this drum solo. Like I went hundies on it, put so much effort into this drum solo, like edited, and I don't know if I edited it or not, but like, and I even fucking paid for like a few hundred views or something because I wanted it to take off because I felt so strongly that it was something special and it never did. It was like it bombed. And then I did this, I just videoed me performing at like this mid-school busking thing with the SPDSX, and I basically played along to like drum and bass tracks like I did like Afterglow by Wilkinson, and there was like a James Blake remix and Where Are You Now, something by Jack Hugh, which was massive at the time.
Yeah.
And I checked this video up, like no thought, like I don't think I like thought about caption or anything, and it's fucking blown up. I get emails about it like almost every day of people commenting and stuff. Well, when I say blown up, like it's got like 200,000 views or something now.
That's blown up to me.
And Mikey saw it, and they were, so at that time we had a lot of stuff in backing tracks because Davey and Beej at the time, Davey was really, and he loves like cinematic type scores. Like he's obsessed with Hans Zimmer. Like Hans Zimmer's like one of his biggest influences and stuff.
Cool.
And so we've always wanted like layers of like a soundscape in our live performance. And so they were always thinking about like getting someone who could start to like take the stuff off backing track and play it live. And then they like did a like tour, I think, and Carl like basically quit the band for a brief period. And so like it had been a period long enough that they were like, okay, we need to keep going with this. Like we need to find someone else. And Mikey saw that video and they hit me up and I auditioned, and so I started learning the drums. But like they've been a band for a while now. Carl had played in Shotgun Alley with Davey in LA and stuff years before that. So they like had it locked in. And like learning a song to cover it is completely different to learning it to play it as the band that have written the song. Like you need to know all the stops and like everything. And so like I was learning all this stuff, but like it takes a while to like, and then Carl sort of wanted back, and because they had this like history, and also like, you know, it had taken a long time to basically get to that point that he was already at, because you're having to like get yourself to a level as if you've performed it for like a year, several like months, So they're like, we kind of like feel like we need to owe it to him, but we've always wanted to like find somebody who can take the stuff off the tracks. And at that time, I was also like dabbling with like Ableton. I was learning how to write electronic stuff basically. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, like this could kind of work. I was sort of like a little bit, it was a bit unsure because I'd spent like months like fucking learning these songs.
Yeah, on the drums, yeah.
My hands were fucked, but like I understood. And then that week, later that week, Bring Me the Horizon were playing at Logan Campbell Centre.
That's right. I was going to go to that show, but I saw
it was fucking unreal.
It was fuck.
And I just watched Jordan the whole time, and I was like, that's what I would do. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Like, and the other thing as well, you'll know this being in bands, the most important thing is like the relationship you have with the other people.
Yes.
Because, you know, like I've been in bands before where like I've been in bands with some of the most talented people, but we just aren't quite on the same page, and we get on each other's skin, and it just will never work. And the thing that I noticed kind of straight away with, you know, Mikey, Davey, B, Carl, was that they were such nice people. Like we all, like I just felt so like at home with these guys. They were all driven.
That's really good.
The other thing as well is like a lot of the time with bands, you'll have like one or two people that are like leading the charge. Like they're way more in it than the others. The others might kind of be along for the ride, and which is fine. You know, it's like there's no right or wrong, but there's usually often like one person leading the charge. And the thing that was really cool and special about Wolves is that we were all that person in our other bands. So it was this like amalgamation of the captains of the band in a way.
It's either going to work or not, but
pretty much.
I'm happy it works.
Yeah, like there's pros and cons for sure.
Yeah, because
like,
then everyone's like, I've got this idea. It's like, no, my idea.
Yeah, and also like I think it's hard as well because everyone cares so much. Like I think our biggest like, and like we're getting way better, and like I certainly don't want it to sound like there's issues with us, and not because it couldn't be further from the truth.
Human,
like
you're human. Man.
I'd fucking die for these guys, but delegation is definitely an issue, sort of, because we all care so much. We all have the idea in our head of what we want. It's hard to sort of hand it off to other people. And it's a funny story in a way, like with some of our more recent music videos, which have gone on to be our best music videos, was like the first video. I mean, obviously Elastic Heart did really well.
Yeah.
And that was, we made that. But we had this guy hit us up, Josh, who was from LA, and he was like, I really like your music. I'd love to do a music video for you guys.
Tell Me the Truth, right?
Yeah, To Tell You the Truth.
That's
exactly.
Right, yeah. I love that song.
And it was funny, like I didn't hear about this because this must have sort of started like really early on. And I found out about it that there was this guy who was like writing a music video for us. And I was actually really worried because the amount of work and effort that goes into making a music video is insane. Like the hours, like it would, you can't make a music video that looks good without spending like 30 hours on it. Like no way. And so if this guy like is spending 30 hours of his time on it, like we owe it to him to like respect the work that he's put in and share it. So if it's shit, we kind of screwed because I don't know, like we wouldn't have to share it, but like it would be a dick move if you didn't. So I was really worried because it was a real risk. And it was funny, like, so he shot all his parts in LA. We shot ours in a car park on Takapuna in North Shore.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
And
you
we
talked
had
about it on the Distorted Transmission at the time, is that right? That
podcast? Possibly.
Yeah, I remember like you guys talking about that.
You
remember you talking about your exact worries. Yeah.
So we had, so essentially we had like a terabyte of footage that we had to somehow get from Auckland to LA. And this was like before fiber was a thing. So yeah, that was an ordeal. But we've been so lucky that we've had these people come to our corner and offer their abilities and their commitment to help. Like, To Tell You the Truth is amazing, and we've gone on to do more videos with Josh. Like, and like the stuff he does is incredible. And then recently we've gone with Nick Kozakis, who just sort of has released a horror movie which is doing amazingly well, and like the film festivals. It's called Godless. It's pretty hectic. But he did the tones of art, all the tones and eyes, or tones of eye, tones and eye, all of her videos. And basically like him and his mate like hit us up being like, hey, I'd like to do a video for you guys. And it was when we were doing the collab project, that was insane, bro. Like, so it started.
Yeah.
We got an email.
So many people.
We got an email from Kellen Quinn, and I saw this, and I was like, bro, this is fake. Like, Do not respond to this email. Somebody is like trying to get our credit card details or like this is phishing. And like it wasn't. And it was like, we want to do a song with you. And we hear back a demo with his voice. We get like this demo from Kellen Quinn. And then like, I'll never forget, we get a demo from Sonny from POD. That was
fucking crazy.
Bro, it was like, what the hell? He's singing on our song.
Yeah.
And like, we did a music video with him. And cool. Nick and his mate, like these guys, like they love POD and they got to shoot this. And you know what's insane about that video? So Nick's based in Melbourne and this was happening all over COVID. He had all the cast set, like the location, the crew, the costumes all sorted. And then Melbourne went into lockdown. And he had like 3 days to relocate the shoot, find replacement actors, and he directed it via Zoom, and they shot it in Sydney. And like 3 days to spare. Like, absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's mental.
So crazy. Like, so we've been so lucky, like having. So I think that's the what crazy thing. Fuck, I need to go to the bathroom. So if we take a real quick break.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, go.
Sorry,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, no, all good. Go for it. All right, and take 2. Woohoo, you're back. Oh, that was fun.
Sorry about that. I went to the gym and I had way too much water. I'm sorry.
Nah, bro, you're all good. All right. Since we have a little bit of time left, so I'm going to do a quick fire session with Oli Lyons himself. All right, let's go with, start with nerdy question.
Okay.
Favorite drumstick brand?
Zildjian.
Zildjian?
Yeah, I use the Dave Grohl drumsticks, which is kind of lame because like I'm like becoming my own person, but I still use other people's signature ones because.
Are you going to have your own signature sticks?
Bro, that's the aim. I hope so. We'll get there.
Is Written by Wolf sponsored? Like endorsement wise?
Yeah, so yeah, Schecter and Tama, and MusicWorks in Auckland like look after us. Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
All right, another one. Okay, drink before stage. Do you have a drink where you could have preferred?
Nah,
drink
not
before
anymore.
Stage?
So I used to like have the odd beer beforehand, but now I don't. So, my warm up routine's like so embarrassing. Like I have to have a banana. When I remember, which I usually don't, I like to have a pre-workout. Like I don't work that much, but like it just helps you in the zone. And like I do like full like Wim Hof breathing and like star jumps, and sometimes I bring like dumbbells and stuff, but like more just to like get you into the zone. Like and like I don't want to do this in front of anybody. Like I want to find a space where nobody can see me because it's fucking embarrassing.
You do some backups as well. So do you do vocal warm ups?
I need to do more of that. That's a goal. I need to get Mikey to run me through it.
I hate doing vocal warm ups.
I need to start doing that because the last few shows, especially when you're nervous, you like get like cotton mouth, and I need to definitely start doing that for the tour. Thank you for reminding me, actually.
No, that's all good. All right, another one is underrated drummer.
Underrated drummer.
In your opinion?
Chad Smith. I don't know if he's that underrated, but like he is so tight. Like, and I would say Chad Smith because I underrated him. Because when you listen to the beats he plays that's recorded, they're simple, but he is so tight, like so on it. Like you see Chad Smith live and you're like, holy fuck. Have you seen the video that he does of the 30 Seconds to Mars?
Oh, I've seen it pop up, but I haven't watched it.
Bro, he's never heard it, and he basically nails it. Like it's insane.
What a dick.
Like, and a lot of the drummers, they'll listen to it 1 or 2 times first. He does it on the first take, like halfway through, he just starts drumming. I'm like, do you want to do it again? He's like, no, I nailed it. It was Chad Smith.
Just too cool. No, that's fucking sick. All right, another one I can think of. All right, here we go. Since you do a bit of like production stuff, what's your favorite audio plugin?
I do like Sylenth. I love Sylenth.
Sylenth.
So it's what Flume used for his first album. We haven't released anything with it, but I just love it. Like it's Sylenth for sure.
Sweet. Now on the medical part, 'cause I just thought of this.
Okay.
A basic thing people can do to, let's say, I guess like a natural way, like throughout the day, you know, like a normal working day, 9 to 5, you have a bit of a crash in the afternoon, you get tired and then people get sluggish.
Yeah.
What in your opinion would be something that you can do just to like help kind of boost your mood or get a little bit, something?
Exercise, probably number one.
Sure.
If I don't exercise, I'm fucked.
I'm the same. Yeah.
So exercise is number one. And then two, there's a really cool thing that Andrew Huberman has done called NSDR. It's like non-sleep deep rest. And it's like a guided meditation that's specifically focused on sort of resting yourself, and it's like an alternative to a nap. And I've started doing that recently, and that's been mean. So you can get it on this app. We're not getting sponsored or anything, but it's just I want to help people.
No, it's good. It's good.
I think it's called Virtue Sun, and it's like free, the 10-minute one. It's like a guided thing, and I found that really good. Like when I feel really tired and I don't have enough time to sleep or get a nap, I'll often do 20 minutes of that, and I feel quite a bit better. And also cold showers as well. I
do that. I fully bought into the cold showers.
Bro, yeah.
I'm at 1 minute 50.
Yo, good shit.
For a cold shower.
Nice.
Fuck, it is a game changer.
Yeah.
I will fully jump on that bandwagon.
100%. And it's funny, like people think that like you enjoy it. You don't enjoy it. You enjoy the feeling that you get afterwards and the reward to say that you did it.
It makes a massive difference for myself, for sure.
It's a great way to start the day because it's like a way of being like, I've just like overcome something that I've already done something I don't want to do. So it sets you up so well from a mental perspective.
Nice. Okay, we'll do... Oh, man, I just had one. Okay. In New Zealand's local music scene, a band you would like to see maybe on like bigger stages or to get more notice, get more recognition? Can be any genre, anything. Doesn't have to be metal or rock.
Oh, that's really hard. I want to give somebody that really like deserves it and needs it. But I'm having a fucking mind blank. I think Caridian like they do well in Auckland, but I think they deserve. They
hardest working band in fucking
especially,
New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when was the last time you heard Caridian say no to a gig?
I went on tour with them of my band when we were around about 2016, and they've just been fucking going and hard ever since.
Best guys.
Yeah, they're awesome, man. I always talk them massively up on this podcast.
Like we need to get Caridian on Homegrown the next year. Like, we need to be, because like this is the whole thing, and like I could go on about this for ages, and I know we won't because we're about to run out of time. But like, there are foundations and stuff around that invest in bands, and surely in terms of these people that help other bands in New Zealand, wouldn't it be a wise investment to invest in people that show work ethic and work hard? And they're a band that shows amazing work ethic.
Absolutely. Hands down, but they're super supportive. They've been real supportive of my podcast, which I've been really appreciative of. It's been really
There
nice.
are so many other bands, but I think they're a band that deserves more.
Yeah, amen to that, for sure. All right, man. I think we might have to call it there. But is there anything? Before we go, do you have anything you want to sort of promote? We didn't talk about the EP at all. Fuck.
Oh yeah, there's more. There's more to come. We got a new single coming out in next month, and the music video we've shot for it already. I've injured my knee. I had to ask Scott for some Panadol before we started. But it's an insane video. Make sure you keep an eye out for that. And obviously we're going on tour. Like, that's the main thing. We're hitting Europe. If you're in any of the dates that we're going to, like, please come. Like, if you're struggling to like justify getting tickets or something, like, send us a message. Like, I can't promise, like, but like, we want anybody that like wants to come. Like, we want to remove any barriers that might be there. So yeah, we just want to play in front of people that care. Yeah, so let's do that.
Sweet, dude. Hey, man, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It's been awesome catching up. It's been fucking ages. Well, actually, we still have Crooked Royals, but we haven't had a proper catch-up probably in a very long time.
Nah,
so, fucking cool, man. Thanks for coming on, and I'm really stoked for all your achievements, bro. Very well earned.
Thanks, bro.
Sweet, man. We'll call it there. Bye, everyone. Bye.